Premium quality football shirts at an extremely affordable price. Sound good? If so, check out the sponsor of today's video, jerseyfifa.com. You can see that I've sent you some shirts and they really are top quality, so make sure to click the link in the description to go find a shirt for yourself or perhaps as a gift for someone else. And you can now use code jerseyfifa at checkout for 10% off your order. That's code jerseyfifa at checkout for 10% off your order. I really do recommend their product, so go take a look. Now let's get into the analysis. In the 2010 and 11 season, Pep Guardiola was in charge of what is arguably the best club side that we have ever seen, leading his team to win the Liga and the Champions League. So let's take a look at just how he managed this. Firstly, we need some context heading into the season. Barcelona started the year with two signings of note for the first team, with both David Villa and Mascherano being recruited by Pep to come over to the Nou Camp. Barcelona also lost a few players heading into the season as well, with Guardiola deciding that Ibrahimovic, Yaya Toure weren't the right men for his team, whilst Thierry Henry was allowed to leave to play his football in the States. Coming into the season, there were concerns over Pep's ability to motivate the squad, after they had won the Champions League 2 years prior and a whole host of trophies in 2009 especially, but Pep faced no such issues. Guardiola came into the season aiming to set up with a very similar philosophy to what we had seen from Pep and Barcelona in the past, with a real focus on dominating possession of the ball, to take control of the match. To do this, Barcelona used a 4-3-3 formation in every single league game that season, and that is no exaggeration at all. There was genuinely not a single La Liga game that year when Pep Guardiola used a different shape. Coming into the season, it appeared as though the plan had been to use Puyol at the heart of the defence, but unfortunately for him he faced a season plagued by injury and he really wasn't available for selection very often. Rather than dwelling on this, Guardiola saw it as an opportunity to introduce his new signing in a slightly unfamiliar role, as Mascherano was deployed at centre-back rather than in the defensive midfield role that he had played previously. Mascherano's transition was of course helped by the fact that he had the likes of Abidal, Piqué and Busquets nearby, and the technical ability on the ball was pretty obvious, and as we all know, this allowed them to play out from the back. However, it was in fact a goalkeeper that was really the key to this play out, and in Victor Valdez, Guardiola and his fellow coaches created one of the best goalkeepers we have ever seen when it comes to playing the ball out from the back. As I said there, this team really was full of technically gifted players all across the pitch, including in goal, and this was of course what allowed the famous tiki-taka style that was implemented at Barcelona for so long. In the Liga that year, most teams tended to set up in a traditional 4-4-2 formation, especially out of possession, with Barcelona one of the few teams that chose to set up with a midfield 3 in the 4-3-3. When pressed, this of course meant that teams could match up with the two Barcelona centre-backs. However, this side had a very modern solution to this, with Valdez playing between the two centre-backs to now create a back 3. I've obviously already spoken about Mascherano and his move into the defence, but I think it's also important to just mention Gerard Piqué, because he was another player that was vital to this possession style at the back in defence. Piqué was arguably the better of the two centre-backs with the ball at his feet, and having created his 3 versus 2 against the strikers, it then allowed Piqué to pick the ball up and carry the ball forward towards the middle third of the pitch. What this change in shape done was it created numerical overloads for Barcelona, as they created a 3 versus 2 against the strikers, and then again in the midfield as well, using that midfield 3 to really great effect. From here the overloads would continue further, really causing headaches for the opposition's midfield too, as Lionel Messi would regularly leave his position up front to drift into much deeper areas in the midfield. This of course allowed Barcelona to play through the 4-4-2 formation with relative ease, which as a result caused some teams to change to more of a 4-3-3 shape in an attempt to prevent these overloads all over the pitch. Again, Barcelona would continue to build possession with this back 3. The opposition's front 3 would of course press them, but Barcelona had the passing ability to clip the ball towards the fullback from the keeper. Having got past the initial press using the fullbacks, Barcelona were then able to progress the ball into the feet of the midfielders, where they were now faced with a 3-man midfield in a man-to-man system. Now, going man-to-man with any team is risky, but going man-to-man with the likes of Xavi and Iniesta is asking for trouble, thanks to their brilliant ability to take the ball in almost any situation and beat their man before playing the pass. With Barcelona winning their battle in the midfield, it allowed Dani Alves in particular to push forward from his starting position at right back, and we would actually regularly see him pushing all the way into the final third. These forward runs from Alves provided the width for the attack, which then allowed Pedro to leave his starting position on the wide right and move into much more central positions, into more of an attacking midfield area. This inside position from Pedro of course had a knock-on effect on the rest of the team and Messi in particular, as he was now once again given freedom to leave his starting position to get on the ball in various areas of the pitch. We can see the number of players that Barcelona got forward down this right hand side, which attracted a lot of defenders towards them, which as a result left David Villa in acres of space over on the other side of the attack. Now, Villa may not have been as good as Messi, but trust me, you did not want to leave him in this amount of room to receive the pass, and it became very common to see him driving forward before cutting the cross back. The use of low crosses benefited his Barcelona team. They of course didn't have the presence to challenge aerially, but by playing the ball low, it allowed intelligent players like Messi to get the ball and finish past the goalkeeper emphatically. And it was kind of around this sort of time that really saw Messi starting to take his game to the next level, but as I said, it was the intelligence and use of low crosses from Guardiola which created these brilliant opportunities. Now we've looked at how Barcelona were able to play their way through various pressing opposition shapes to attack quickly, but as we all know, there were also occasions when they had to be much more patient with the ball. Once again, Guardiola was helped by the fact that his side was full of some of the most technically gifted players that we've ever seen, with Xavi and Iniesta in particular really allowing Barcelona to deploy this tiki-taka style. Of course, behind them we saw Sergio Busquets, who acted as the pivot or the deep lying playmaker for this side, and for several years he was arguably one of the most underrated players on the planet, but he really was crucial. As of course was Messi, who really added to this brilliant tic-tac style with a little bit more flair and skill on the ball, and he really tormented defences that year, so let's take a look at just how he done this on such a regular basis. The main way that Messi achieved this was by once again dropping away from his starting position up front to really join the midfield in their build-up play, which against almost any formation created yet another numerical overload. This is where the problem started, because one of the opposition centre-backs would be forced to follow Messi into these deeper areas, which as a result left room in behind for Villa or Pedro to run into in this new space. Unsurprisingly, this caused hesitation in the opposition centre-backs, which often allowed Messi just a little bit more time on the ball, and once again we all know that he had that ability to drive at the heart of the defence. As well as dribbling, Messi would also once again look to slide passes through for Pedro and Villa to run onto, and at the time they really were pretty much the perfect duo to play alongside Messi and take advantage of his true brilliance. Even to this day, I would argue that these two never really got the credit that they deserved, but they were decisive in so many big matches with their dribbling ability on the ball, as well as their timing of run in behind, and they were just pure quality. Another player that played a big role in the Barcelona attack was the right back Dani Alves, and as I mentioned earlier, it was his runs forward that allowed Pedro this extra bit of freedom on the ball, but Alves offered so much more than just that. In fact, in this particular season, Dani Alves produced what was arguably one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen from a fullback from an offensive point of view, and he contributed so many goals and assists for his side that year. On the other side of the defence, Abidal played in a much more reserved manner, often choosing to sit slightly deeper with his centre-backs, and it was this that created the balance for so many other players to attack. As I said there, we saw Abidal sitting whilst Alves pushed forward, and it was similar in the midfield, with Iniesta playing much higher than what Xavi did, which created what was essentially a 2-3-5 shape for Barcelona when they had the ball. Those of you that watch this channel on a regular basis will find this attacking shape very familiar, and it's something we've seen from Guardiola throughout his career, and he continues to use a similar shape with Manchester City. Somehow Guardiola still receives criticism, but people seem to forget that he started as manager of Barcelona B team, where he was in charge for 1 year before instantly being thrust into the main job, where he built his super team in 2 years. Looking back at Pep Guardiola's time with Barcelona, this particular team and season will probably be the one that is really remembered as the best, as they managed to beat a brilliant Real Madrid side to La Liga title in a really close battle. And then just a few days later they produced what is potentially one of the best performances we've ever seen from a team in a Champions League final, particularly over the past couple of decades, and they really were ruthless on the day. And they brushed aside a pretty strong Manchester United side which had also just won the league in England, but on the day Barcelona did make it all look fairly easy, with a brilliant blend of composure and ruthlessness on the ball. For me, it's exactly this which makes this Barcelona team probably the best club side that I have ever seen. And even if they weren't the best, Guardiola and Barcelona certainly changed the way that football would be played in the modern era. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.